two of the dogs were in her bed. And I was just like,
whoopsie.
And they're like, and I'm like, what the
whoopsie? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of One Set. My name is Anthony Irvin. Glad to be back with you guys. And I'm glad to have my co-host here, Jim Green. How you doing, brother?
Bro, I'm great. Man, so cozy today.
Dude, is that silk?
It should be.
It should be.
It may be, but it probably isn't. You know. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man.
But no, I wanted to bring up because I've been waiting on this episode. This is a very special episode. You know, for me and Habs, and I'm not trying to make it all about me, because this is cool for both of us. But this episode 32 is the longest podcast that I've been involved in. So I have now had a podcast that has ran longer than Table Talk, because Table Talk stopped at 31. So being that One Set here on episode 32 is the longest running podcast that I've been involved in, and stoked to have it being involved with my best friend here. So,
well, I think it's important to acknowledge here and that our friendship is 20 plus years running, and yeah. I am not closely acquainted. Are those the right words? I don't have a friend that I've been friends with for longer ever. So I think it's fitting that you and I are sharing this milestone. And I know that it's like,
it's fitting like the fitting sheets that you're wearing.
Oh, it fits really great. Thank you.
Yeah,
it feels really good.
Feels good.
Yeah, it's great. But really, thank you for all the years of friendship. And I mean, hey, we talked about doing this, and I think what's important here, right, is to share and acknowledge our friendship and the longevity of our friendship, because anyone watching this, one individual watching this, I wonder if they have a longer relationship with a friend than you and I have.
Right. Comment below if you guys are watching on YouTube. If you guys are watching from the YouTube channel, comment down below how long you and your best friend have been friends for. And let's see if we can get a couple people to chat down below and see how many people have had, the longest. Let's see if anybody's been as long as us or close to us. Or, hey, maybe we might get somebody that's longer.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Yeah. I know my oldest sister raved about her and her one friend being friends for 20 years at like the one New Year's Eve bash that we had. And I was just like, yeah, hold my virgin
Whoopsie.
drink or whatever. Yeah. Hold it. Behold it.
Behold it.
But I was like, do you know anyone else our age that has a tight friendship like you and I have?
Nobody that comes to mind. I mean, there's people that have been together, but and I'm sure people have been through a lot. But just speaking off the things that you and me have been through, just like I said, we've had our times, like you said, where we've been tight, and then we've been times where we haven't really talked for like months, close to, I think it was almost like a year or two. We didn't consistently talk, but then we just came back, and it was like it was only like maybe a day or two we didn't talk, and it was just like back to like we never missed anything.
It's so fun, right? Because I think about that time where we didn't talk, and I think about where we are now.
Yeah.
And I think about how I struggle on the days where you and I don't talk. And it's not
same.
Yeah, right. And it's not like, oh, I need him in my life, but like,
oh, thanks.
Yeah, that could have been taken really disrespectfully, so I apologize. No, honestly, remember that one time that you had vacation? So for those that are watching, is it postpartum or like what's the word here? After the fact, we recorded like what, 3 episodes? Like ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because your schedule, my schedule, jeez. Just the amount that I think that you can appreciate and agree that we had so much catching up to do.
Yeah.
That it's like this right now is like sensory overload. Like I want to record 4 episodes with you right now because
exactly.
there's so much to do right now.
Yeah.
But
so for everybody that's watching and listening, whichever, if you're watching or listening now, the last couple episodes, like Jim was just saying, we had kind of batched a couple weeks because I had a vacation that I just got off of, and Jim had some dance things, so we had to kind of batch some episodes and kind of do a lot of things within the week before my vacation starting. So we were kind of living in the past, and you guys were seeing the future of the past, or the past future, however you want to reference it. But now this episode is actually, we're in the current situation of what we're back into, being current with, the week that we usually really record, and it gets put out that week. So, we're stoked to kind of just be back in the rhythm of what we were doing, So it was a cool couple weeks to kind of just be able to stay consistent and give you guys episodes, because we didn't want to miss out, and we've been consistent ever since. We've started this back in January of this past year, and I think that's been the best thing for us, is to just keep that consistency clock rolling for us, to just continue to be like, okay, even if something comes up, and we've learned a lot from these, on the fact that, you know, trying to have not only an episode that we record for that week, but if we can try to do like maybe 2 episodes that week. So even if we don't get out that one episode, we have an episode in the bank. So if we have a hiccup episode, if I can't do something that week, or if Jim can't do something, something comes up, we can be like, oh, okay, well, we have something already in the bank. All we have to do is edit it and put it out for that week. Don't worry about it. We'll come back next week. So we've learned so much more about being podcasters over this last 8 months. And, you know, and I know I've been saying this to Jim a lot, that I've been seeing so much progress with him being so much more comfortable being out with, you know, being able to just talk and, you know, just be more fluent, where I feel Jim should be saying that to me, because as to me, I was that type of person that would not want to be talking, and I would be the follower in that conversation. So it's weird to have the reverse thing with that going, but we both help each other out in those type of aspects. But it's good to be back being current with you, buddy.
And I thank you so much for mentioning all of that. I think we should rewind to episode 30, when you know, sorry, edit me gap. But no, when you and I were at Club 45, and you were so confident. You were like, let's just go have a conversation with them over there. It's so weird to me, because I grew up in the dance world.
Yeah.
With girls that, like, I thought it would make sense that I would easily approach and just be like, hey, what's up? Like, but instead I was intimidated. I was so nervous. Right. And you were just like, yeah, no, let's just go do, and that's probably like, you know, your dad.
Yeah. and I guess with that, and I guess with that, it's just, I got like a thing of, cause I don't even think at that point we were going to, you know, like proms or anything at that point yet. We were too young for that, but like we had like the Brookhaven dances and stuff, which were like petty, you know, puppy dog dances and stuff. But like I had in my head, like, what's the worst somebody can say is no. So that was my, you know, type of thing to think of, instead of being like, oh, well, what if they do this? Because I still to this day have problems of thinking about what other people think, or what other people are going to think about or say about me. But when it came to that, it's like thinking like, well, the worst thing they can, if you're, you know, just like, you know, asking, you know, a girl to a prom, I was always nervous, but then I got to the point where saying like, the worst thing they can say is no. So I'm like, you know, then once I kind of got that through, I'm like, all right, well, that's the worst thing they can do. Thankfully, that's the only thing they ever really did. But, you know, they obviously never had any, you know, drastic issues. But yeah, I vaguely remember kind of being the one to say like, we should just go over and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we talked more about it on the pod, on the previous episode. But
yeah. I you know, I commend you so much, timestamp, for just being able to speak in front of people because I can't do it. I had to present an award this past weekend, and I was just so anxious about having to take the microphone and speaking in front of hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And it was just like I wanted to credit the student because of their quality that they possessed, and I wanted to acknowledge them. But the fact that I had to stand up there and be like, like
Adam Sandler.
I was so awkward. My godmother told my mom, "You should probably write his speeches from now on." Like, it was that level of like,
gee, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Chachi. Appreciate it. But I was just so nervous, anxious, just everything. But
yeah, I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it too. I thank you for, continuing to give me the confidence to be able to, say that I'm a good, speaker, because I've had numerous of people when I was doing table talk, they're like, you sound like a natural at this, like it's almost like you can do like radio and stuff, and I took it as a wonderful, compliment. I never really thought of doing radio, and I never would have thought I'd be good at speaking, because like you, I hated public speaking. I was never really good, but then put me on a stage with a guitar, I'm totally fine. And even then, like doing
Calhoun Tubbs.
podcasting, I feel it. Say it again.
Calhoun Tubbs. That's where you're at.
That was, yeah. And I'm still trying to find that video. And I think I have it, but I just think the CD, was a CD. It's like all scratched up. So I'm trying to repair it. I'd have to go and get it like repaired. I think I know somebody that can hopefully help me repair it, because I would love to see that, back, because I have not watched myself do that act in forever. But yeah, like I think even podcasting has helped me be a better talker on stage and be comfortable, in between songs, talking to the audience, instead of just being like, okay, thank you guys, thank you for the song, this is another song, going another song, or thank you, you can Spotify, shameless plug, next song. Like, you at least find something to engage people with, or have a small conversation with, to let them know that you're up there, and to be like, I'm just not up here just playing music. You can talk to me, I can talk to you. So the podcasting thing has definitely helped me in that reign too.
I think ultimately it was, you were able to duplicate you doing the Calhoun Tubbs bit, and being like, I've been a success at being a failure for over 75 years now.
75 years.
Yeah. And the fact that you were able to get up there and be like, I know that this isn't me, but so many people loved it. Okay. So let's talk about how you were so prepared, and how the people that we graduated with were so like over it, only because they'd heard it so many times, right?
I put so many hours into practicing that, and like,
and
I must have watched that. I did. I sat and watched that skit multiple times, and I think my parents are of witness to how much time, because I think I may have done 4 or 5 skits in that whole variety show thing. But that one I put so much work into, just perfecting it down to the guitar, to the voice, to the mannerisms he did, to every little like twitch or every little like like mannerism. I got like I wanted to make sure it was like somewhat like if you were rewatching it, like you were watching it from. And the only thing is, I was like, all right, well, kids our age may not remember in living color too much. And the funny thing was, I had to cut one thing out of it because I had to, you know, watch it back with my dad. And there was one part in the skit, and I mean, I'll say it here, but if we have to edit it out, I'll edit it out because I'm not sure. It's not really like a bad thing, but he was talking about Steppenwolf, uh, and I think the line was, "Oh, and I used to play with I played with Steppenwolf, where I taught the Steppenwolf, and he played just like a white boy." And my dad's like, "Yeah, you probably don't want to go up on a high school stage and start saying that stuff." So I and so I had to cut that part out, and so I just cut uh that little bit out and just went from the one thing before that and then did the other portion of that. So again, the only people who would have caught that is if they really knew the skit that I was coming from.
Right.
But I think I don't think it really hit with a lot of people unless you knew where this guy came from. You didn't really know it came from A Living Color. But like you just said, there were some people when I was doing it in practice, and I was very, very nervous about doing it because I thought nobody's going to get this. And I wasn't even going out there for laughs. I was just going out because I wanted to do a skit. I wanted to challenge I think it was more for me challenging myself to see if I can do something like that. Because I knew I wanted to do the whole Hendrix thing. I knew I wanted to do like a skit of something that everybody does, just like a regular comedy skit. But I wanted to do something that I haven't done. And this Calhoun Tubbs thing was, I'm like, I think I can recreate that. So, you know, when I first did it in like the rehearsals, I think it was a bomb. I think nobody laughed. Nobody got it. And I thought Kaz was just going to be like, get out of here. Like you're, I thought I was just going to be out of the whole freaking variety show. And I think the second time I did it for rehearsal, because I think it was when like you were doing the skits, like you had to just do it so many times. And I think if he ended up liking the skit, he would put it in the show. So when I got the second time to do it, I'm like, all right, well, at least he liked it. And I think after the second or third time I did it, then I started getting people to being like, okay, I think I get it now. I like that high pitched laugh that you do. And he was, so they started catching on to it. So it started catching on to people. And I think after like they listened to it a couple times and I started explaining to them where it came from, then I think that's where I started catching on.
I think, not, I think, because they tell you you're not allowed to write, I think, because null and void, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the Calhoun Tubbs skit more than what is it? When Cried Mary?
Yeah.
And
I did a solo performance of Jimi Hendrix, When Cries Mary, because I took that as a very special moment in my high school career because I won a prize in the talent competition playing that. So I'm like, all right, well, that was definitely a defining moment in my like start of my music career, if you want to call it, in high school. So I wanted to do that, and thankfully I was able to do that again. But yeah, I think a lot of people like the Calhoun Tub thing, and they remember that more than the Hendrix part.
And this is the thing about the variety show is like there are memorable moments. I mean, off air, we were talking about people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember Calhoun Tubbs way before, Wing Cries Mary, and not
Yeah.
because you're not talented. That's not at all
Right.
what I'm saying. Um, but I think that so many people that we graduated high school with remember, when they look back to the variety show, they look back at that specific act that you did.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
I'm glad I'm still glad that I did it, and I would do it all over again. And I think it just shows that, like, the growth of me being like this shy kid and like was always like the follower, and then like being up there and doing that. I don't think a lot of people expected me to go up there and do something like that. I think I was known as a guitar player, but I don't think people expected me to go out there and do something like that. So I wanted to try something that like would challenge me, but then also get people to be like, "Wait, who is that up there? Oh, that's Ant. Wow, I did not expect him to be doing something like that." So the shock factor, I guess. I mean, that was another thing that I was kind of glad that people saw it in that way, that they were seeing me do something, going out of my comfort zone and doing something that I would never really think about doing.
I mean, Anthony, this is everything right now. Okay. This is uh, Club 45. You were like,
All over again.
let's do this. Okay. I wanted to go on stage and perform, and I was so nervous to do what I did. And you were just like, you know what? This is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to champion you. I want to congratulate you, and I want to thank you for everything. Because in the moments where you felt like maybe discouraged or not confident, you always just, you know what you did? You were your dad. You were like, yeah. And
Whatever.
you just you were you. And
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
I love you. And I just
Love you too, brother.
I'm so grateful to have you in my life and know good things are coming your way and good things are coming my way. And
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy how little things that, like, when you're doing things at the moment, you don't really know what you're doing. Like, you don't know how much of an impact it might make on somebody else. Like you're saying, like, I would have never thought that it hit you in that type of way, to know that, like, my little skit and thought of like, I'm just trying to make somebody laugh, or I just did it to be like, I just want people to know about this Calhoun Tubbs character because I thought he was funny, and I think I can recreate it and hopefully get somebody else to laugh about it. But to know that it's impacted you, to be like, you just had this effort attitude to be like, hey, I wanted to go and do this, and you know, and it's like showed. So, uh, you know, and as much as you thank me for being me, thank you for being you, man. I can't think of and this is going off of a lot of us congratulating each other on this episode, but I guess this is the official Friends episode. of our podcast, because we've talked a lot about our friendship on this episode. But I gotta say, just as many times as you congratulate me and thank me, I gotta thank you for just you know giving me, I guess, a lot of that confidence comes just from having a friend like you by my side too, because you know at the times that we were hanging out, and I knew that like you had people around you that I necessarily didn't talk to, or they didn't talk to me, so I always felt like a third wheel with it. But you never made me feel like an outcast, and I appreciate you for it. And you never really uh you know and I know we never really had like the like click type things. We never really got into like, oh well, I'm Mr. Popular and this is not popular and this is that. Like we never really defined ourselves as like being in certain like levels of like high school popularity and stuff. We were just like, hey, I know this person and you know this person, and whatever their type of popular is does not matter. But I'm just glad that like throughout all these years, we've been able to kind of learn from each other, and now we get to just document all this week after week. So it's been cool, man. And so I thank you for that. So
Thank you. Thank you. There is just, we talk about Mr. Davis, and we go back to,
which we still got to try to get him on.
Would love to.
So if anybody is watching this episode from our high school class and they know of any whereabouts of Mr. Davis, and they can possibly get a hold of him for us, please definitely email us, onesetpod@gmail.com. We would love to have him on. I'd love to have a conversation with him, because again, for anybody who's been watching this from day one, he's been the creator or the spark that started our friendship, and the symbol that started the meaning of this podcast. So it'd be awesome to get him on here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll love that. Thank you. And anything before we sign off for today?
Well, I will say at the end of this month, now that we're in current mode, at the end of this month in August, I am playing a festival, the Delco Quarantine Open Mic, that started back in the pandemic, back in 2020. We are now having our first annual actual in-person music and arts festival on August 27th at Marty Magee's in Prospect Park. So I, along with 42 or 43 other acts, are going to be playing all day. It starts at 12:30 in the afternoon and goes all the way till 2 a.m. There's going to be 3 stages with a bunch of bands and solo acts. So feel free to come out. There's tickets are $10. I can link the information in our descriptions. Tickets are $10. You can buy them before the show and you can buy them at the show. So I will be playing a set, a half-hour set starting at 6:30 on the acoustic stage, which is inside. So if you guys are in the area of Prospect Park or within the Delco or outside of Delco area, feel free to come out that day. It's going to be a great time, because I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people from the Delco Quarantine Open Mic page that we haven't all officially been able to meet everybody. So I have met a handful of people that I've been able to connect through the page since, but this is going to be a day where we're all going to be able to just be able to be in one spot and be able to just meet each other for the first time. So I'm looking forward to it. So anybody who's available, feel free to come out. and it'll be fun. I'm going to be playing some original music that I haven't been playing in a while, and I haven't had a show dedicated to just full on original music, so I'm looking forward to it. How about you, man? Is there anything coming up in the dance world for you? I know you had a big dance week this past weekend, but
yeah, I mean, it's apologies for that. It's been wild. Like the past week, had a really big show this past weekend. So now everything is just like, well, it's like August, right? So it's just a matter of like getting into the cycle of the next season. So yeah.
Cool, man. I guess we can wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep.
Well, thank you guys for, sticking with us for another episode. This has been One Set. I think we can probably officially say that, we have another social media account. We just recently started a TikTok. So you guys can follow us on TikTok. We'll be, posting some episode clips there, behind the scenes stuff. And, as we get more traction there as well, we'll prioritize with those things too. But just like anything, you guys can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Hit us up, rate us, review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. Anybody who's watching from those, or if you have a recommended podcast that you listen to from and we're not on there, let us know. Let us know in the comments, email us, and we will do our best to get on those, because we want to make sure that you guys are watching us wherever you can. So, brother, cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers, brother. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you to everyone that's tuning in. All the cheers, all the love.